Are you on thyroid hormone replacement but still feel awful? Or are your thyroid levels normal, yet you have classic symptoms? Do you feel like you've tried everything and don't know what to do next? Do you wonder how you can get to the true root causes of autoimmunity or functional hypothyroidism? Are you holding out for a natural way to resolve your symptoms? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Heal Your Thyroid podcast. I'm Madeleine Lowry, a neural retraining specialist and founder of Twin Cities Neural Retraining. I work with clients in virtual sessions to resolve the hidden sources of stress behind chronic health issues, including thyroid function. In this episode, I'm going to talk about what trauma is and how we work with it in advanced neural retraining sessions. In the last couple of episodes, we have explored the impact of trauma, especially early life trauma, on the nervous system, and how it can set us up for lifelong elevated risk of chronic health issues, including low thyroid function. We also described the cell danger response and the conditions that create it, namely prolonged cellular stress. And what produces prolonged cellular stress? Well, trauma would be one thing. If you're finally ready to address your thyroid issues in a new way, a mind-body way, then this podcast is for you. I'm going to connect the dots for you so that you will understand the real reasons you still have thyroid problems despite everything you've tried and what you can do about it. Could neural retraining be your next best step to thyroid healing? Take our quiz at tcneuralretraining.solutions to find out. So, what is trauma anyway? I would say that trauma is any unprocessed, painful, emotional experience. What kind of emotional content goes unprocessed? Anything that is overwhelming to the individual at that time. So traumas can be from any point in life, not just childhood, and what rates as trauma is very subjective. What might be overwhelming and traumatic for one person may not be for another. And the impact differs based on your maturity level, your level of sensitivity, point of view, your belief system, and other factors. The thing about trauma is that it's more about what the mind makes of the experience than the experience itself. We cannot judge for another person what is or is not traumatic. Now, let's talk about sensitivity a little bit. For the sensitive person, less jarring experiences will have more trauma impact. And these can be very small indeed. I have worked with people who have had trauma responses in early childhood from waving at someone who didn't smile back, or when their usually caring parent wasn't responsive to them. The reason I mention this is that we never know what could register as a trauma for another person, as it is so dependent on their mindset and expectations and their level of sensitivity. And especially for parents, I want you to know that I don't think trauma can be avoided. I don't think any of us gets through this life without some trauma. And the good news is that trauma experiences, even quite devastating ones, can be rewired quickly with advanced neural retraining sessions. Now, what do I mean when we talk about neutralizing painful emotional memories in sessions? Well, if you are familiar with tapping or EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, or EMDR, which stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprogramming, those are two examples of neural retraining methods. With tapping, we are stimulating acupressure points to move energy as we focus on a painful thought or situation to diminish the emotional intensity. With EMDR, bilateral stimulation is used for the same purpose. These are two energy psychology techniques from the 1980s, and it has taken 40 years for these to become well accepted. The MAP method, the method that I use, is the latest energy psychology method, and it is gentler and more powerful than either EMDR or EFT. No tapping or bilateral stimulation is needed, as the subconscious mind is prompted to invoke its own self-healing capabilities. Many of my clients have worked with me on trauma memories that they have worked with in talk therapy sessions, in EMDR sessions, or in tapping sessions, and yet the shifts they observe after a MAP session seem to go deeper. I have clients that are psychotherapists, clients that are tapping instructors, clients that are hypnotherapists, and other kinds of practitioner, and they've all remarked on how easy and powerful the changes are with MAP by comparison. If you listen to my original podcast, Flourish with Neural Retraining, you will hear more than one of my clients remark that you can do 5 years of talk therapy in one MAP session, which is an exaggeration, but I think that they're trying to convey the depth of the shifts that can be felt after sessions. Though I would be quick to add that not every session leads to an obvious shift. I like to say that MAP is a process, not a miracle. I should also clarify that MAP is not a hypnotic technique. It is a meditative one. During a session, you will be relaxing with your eyes closed, breathing slowly, deeply, and gently. I will prompt you to focus on the subject you have chosen for the session, and then I will give your subconscious mind some instructions. Your only job is to passively observe what comes up in your mind as your subconscious starts to reveal its associations. After a few minutes, I will ask you for some feedback, and you will tell me what came up. That helps me to know where we need to go next. So MAP is an iterative process. You focus on a subject, I give instructions to your subconscious mind, you provide feedback on what came up, and then we identify the next subject for you to focus on, and we repeat this process, a few times in a 1-hour session. Follow-on sessions are usually 90 minutes, and that allows us to work with more complex or long-standing patterns. With MAP, we are harnessing the power of the subconscious mind to heal itself. Though we may focus on one painful memory as the subject of the session, we are asking the subconscious mind to identify all related memories and neutralize them as a group. Remember, the subconscious mind is an associative mind, and one of the primary means of association is emotional content. In other words, memories of anger are connected with other memories of anger. And with this method, we are able to neutralize groups of memories at the same time. So changes can happen faster than with more basic methods. And this is why MAP has been described as a leap over some of the other methods that have preceded it. Now, when we ask the subconscious mind to neutralize a memory, the emotional intensity starts to change within minutes. You can watch an example of this on my website, tcneuralretraining.com. Typically, the emotional pain diminishes after a few rounds of verbal instructions, though occasionally it may go up a little at first and then start to go down. Or sometimes one emotion might subside while another emotion arises. But usually by the end of the session, your feeling about the situation is much more neutral. How do we know this? We have you rate the emotional intensity at the beginning of the session as a baseline, and we monitor your progress throughout the session. In addition to the changes in emotional intensity, often insights will come up during a session. Your perspective on the event may change as well. For example, you may find that you have more compassion for yourself or others. You may stop blaming yourself, or you may realize that you've taken on responsibility for something that is not yours. So it is not just a neutralization process. It's a kind of process of enlightenment that happens one memory or one subject at a time. It's important to understand that we are not erasing memories. I want to make that very clear. You will still have the memory, but it will be less emotionally intense, and your perspective on it will be different. Now, why is this important? It's great, of course, to have a gentle, easy, and powerful way to resolve trauma, especially when we are consciously aware of certain traumatic past experiences. But that is only part of the benefit. The other part is that when we resolve the emotional intensity around a memory, the programming that is associated with the memory is deprioritized as well. What kind of programming? Well, for example, negative repetitive thoughts, the inner critic, unwanted emotional responses, conditioned behaviors, patterns of rumination, worry or catastrophizing, compulsions, behavior patterns like people pleasing, conflict avoidance or perfectionism, and so many more. And what my clients notice is that after a few sessions, they feel emotionally better. And then after a few more sessions, they are feeling mentally better or behaviorally better. And after several more sessions, they are starting to feel physically better. I believe that it is the cumulative effect of a series of sessions that finally leads to improved healing function as we resolve one layer of stress at a time in sessions. Now, do you need to know what the traumas are? Well, no. All you need to know is what's bothering you in your current life. If you can identify what is holding you back or what worries you, or what the negative repetitive thoughts or unwanted behaviors are that you would like to change in yourself, these are all clues because these are all trauma-related patterns. We can direct the subconscious mind to follow those threads to find the hidden related stresses. For my clients with chronic health issues, it's important for them to recognize that dealing with chronic illness is a sequence of painful emotional experiences in and of itself. And I will be talking more about how I use MAP for optimizing health and thyroid function in future episodes. MAP stands for Make Anything Possible, and I hope that you are starting to grasp the enormous potential of working with the subconscious mind. If you would like to hear about one person's experience with MAP and how to prepare for your first MAP session, please listen to episodes 41 and 72 of the Flourish with Neural Retraining podcast. So at this point, I hope that you understand that with an advanced method of neural retraining like MAP, we can resolve traumas both consciously known and subconsciously held, which leads to emotional, mental, and behavioral shifts, and the resolution of sources of stress which were barriers to healing. And this process gradually frees up more energy for healing as well. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to try MAP for yourself, I invite you to join the Heal Your Thyroid, the Mind-Body Solution community on Facebook, where opportunities to join group introductory MAP sessions will be announced. If you like what you are hearing, please listen again and remember to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your review is the best way to raise awareness of this information, and I greatly appreciate each and every review. Content of this podcast, copyright 2024, by Twin Cities Neural Retraining. Music by Barbara Ben.